Make no mistake about it. When I fight Islam Makhachev on August 15th, I'm going to beat the #1 pound fighter on the planet. I'm going to beat the 2-weight world champion. I'm going to dismantle him. And when I do that, it's undeniable. I will be the greatest fighter on the planet. And I can't wait for it to happen because I'm going to beat him where he's best too. I've already beaten 6 of the top 15. Islam will be 7. I think I have about 9 fights at welterweight and then we move up to middleweight and do it all over again.
Do you think Ian Garry has a shot?
I think Ian has a real chance. If Ian Garry can get off sharp combinations early, he can stun him. He's fast.
He's fast. Yeah.
Everything's like, Gary's no joke, man. He's dangerous. He also dubbed Shavkat's knee. The bottom line about Islam is no one's able to get away from him. He gets a hold of you, you're a fucksville. Very good standing up, and those mother don't play.
If you had a fight or a showdown, name exactly 3 fighters you would take with you. This is an interesting question because I wonder who Charles will take with him.
Islam Makhachev, Desport.
Who?
Islam Makhachev.
The fighters are Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier, and also Ilia Topuria.
Yeah.
Every time we see each other, they treat me very well. These are 3 guys whom I respect a lot as fighters. And not just for what they do in the cage, but also for who they are outside of it. And
who is the best among these 3?
out of these 3, Islam Makhachev.
Islam Makhachev?
Yes, Islam Makhachev. I think he is an exceptionally talented master and is currently working hard on improving his footwork. I think he is one of those who, in my opinion, has undergone the most significant transformation.
Islam or Ian? Who are you picking?
I'm picking Islam. I think that he just has too many tools to win. He's just too strong, and his grappling is just going to be undeniable in that cage. He's going to take down that little cuck. The little cuck is going to be too busy worried about what his wife's doing with other men to worry about winning a world title. Yeah, I got my money on Islam. And hopefully one day he'll want to come over to RAF and get beat on the freestyle match.
Can Islam beat Garry? Can Garry beat Islam? Are you guys sold enough on Ian Garry that he can go out and become the champion of the world? Do you believe that in your heart? Yeah, I think that guy can beat Islam. Okay, tell me how he's going to beat him. Is Ian Garry going to try to revive Conor and Khabib and do it with himself through Islam? It's very possible. Ian Garry believes he's going to beat Islam Makhachev. It's a big deal, and I'm going to make a prediction for you. This fight's going to be huge. I want you to watch this. Stay with me.
Never fought someone as long and tall as me. He's not fought someone as fast as me. I'm gonna bounce him on his skull. I'm gonna take his title. I'm gonna take his throne.
I just love that. He does have the length. Ian does a very good job of controlling distance. Islam does a better job, I believe, of taking away distance. But you got a training camp. You got some time. Ian Garry, in theory, he's right. If he can learn to keep you at the end of their punches. Islam wishes that Ian was even taller and even longer and had even more ability. Because as a wrestler, it just gives him more to get under. Taking a tall guy down is so much easier. Just because there's more body to grab. That's gonna be an interesting trade. You watch Ian, you think he's this brash, confident Irish man. He's better than he thinks he is. Rakhmonov won the contest as a whole, but Ian took his O away. Ian showed that wrestling wasn't impenetrable. I do believe that Ian is going to convince the world of what I already know. He can win this fight.
Yeah, I think that obviously, I mean, that's true. Like from a perspective of like just the truth. I mean, he's not the type of guy that's just going to KO you in the first round. You know what I mean? Like it's just not really what he does because he's really smart. Like he's very defensively sound. He plays really long. I think the leg kicks and like the oblique kicks and the head kicks and just the frame difference between them means that Ian Garry's probably going to play. He always plays the matador. Like he's never playing the ball. He's never like being aggressive and like trying to hunt you down. He like builds into a fight, and then in round 3, 4, and 5, that's when he gets a little bit more aggressive. That's where he like rocks people, like even Bilal and Prates or whatever. He had big moments against them in round 3, 4, and 5. I mean, Shavkat Rakhmonov, he gets his back in the 5th round. So I feel like if there is a finish from Ian Garry, it probably is in the 4th or 5th. So it's not ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous to say that. I guess that's what I'll say. It's not ridiculous to say that, but I also feel like, come on, bro. You're not finishing Islam Makhachev. Like, come on, bro. If you win this shit, it's by decision. Like, let's be fucking real. Same with Islam. I mean, I think Islam has more finishing potential overall. Like, early on, he could snap up a Das. He's really fucking dangerous. Like, I think Islam overall is a more likely to finish this fight. But I feel like if this gets to round 3, 4, and 5, it's probably going to be a decision. Like, I think this will be a very close fight. Both of those camps have said the same thing. So I lean towards a decision. If you're asking me what I think is going to happen, I don't think it's going to be a finish from Ian Garry.
How good do you think is Ian Garry when you look at the rest of the division?
Dude, I mean, shit. Like, it's pretty hard to say he's not the #1 guy. Like, besides Islam, right? Like, he beat Prates. He had a really good fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov. Like, had more finishing type moments in that fight. you know, beat MVP. Like, he's beat all types of weird style matchups as well, which I think is really cool to see. Like, obviously, I don't like the...
This is the fight I've been begging for. This is the fight I've deserved, I've earned, against the toughest task. There is no tougher challenge. You cannot name me a fighter right now in recent history who has tried to come up and competed against this level of champion, a two-weight world champion, on a record-setting, unbeaten streak in the UFC, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. It's the toughest challenge for a challenger to become the champion ever, and I thrive off that excitement.
The closer we get to Islam Makhachev versus Ian Machado Garry, the louder the conversation gets. Former champions, veteran coaches, longtime analysts, and some of the most respected names in the sport have all started weighing in, and nobody seems to agree on anything. Some believe Garry has what it takes to pull off one of the most unexpected wins in UFC history. Others are convinced that nobody alive right now has the tools to beat Makhachev, because the man simply does not have a clear weakness anywhere on his game. These are the predictions, the breakdowns, and the honest opinions coming straight from the people who know this sport best, right before one of the most talked about fights of the year.
However, it's just Islam is the mark of excellence in MMA. You know, you're talking about just a pro's pro who, even when weight cuts don't go right, he still finds ways to win. But for the most part, operates like a pro. You know, I think engages in trash talk without going insane. I'll put it that way. Which I personally prefer. You know, everyone's going to be a little bit different, but I kind of prefer that. But just in terms of like excellence, you know, can he wrestle quite as well as Khabib? Maybe not, but pretty close. And he can strike a whole lot better. He has fought, you know, very, very tough guys. I didn't know how 170 was going to go, and then it's just been what it's been. You know, I just think very, very, very highly, not only of his ability and his well-roundedness and experience, but his ability to, you know, remain focused on the goal at all times. So many of these guys, they get fat out of camp, they get in trouble, they lose focus, they want to do something else, the fire dies. And these guys from Abdul Manap's camp, man, they just stay grounded and keep hammering and keep hammering. And that's why they keep winning. And Islam is, you know, one of the very best to ever do it. A remarkable fighter, and, you know, can go and do a numbered event in the Middle East, can do one in stateside, and I think that is a degree of its own kind of value. Hugely important for that organization and the sport generally.
Totally. Yeah, I think, and a big thing now is literally starting with this fight, you can promote every Islam Makhachev fight as historic beyond measure, given this winning streak. I mean,
that's right.
Side with Anderson Silva, you could say this is a fighter who's never done anything beyond this point like it is. That's a huge...
Chael Sonnen came out with something that a lot of people were not expecting to hear. He shifted the focus away from what happens inside the octagon and pointed directly at Fight Week itself. According to Sonnen, if Ian Machado Garry is serious about winning this fight, the psychological battle needs to start long before the first punch gets thrown. Every press conference, every face-off, every single moment where both men share the same space needs to be used as a weapon. Sonnen's thinking is straightforward here. The more tension you can build around a fight, the bigger and heavier it starts to feel for both fighters. And when a fight starts to feel bigger than expected, that weight lands differently on the champion than it does on the challenger. Sonnen pointed out that Garry has already shown he is comfortable playing mind games, and some fans and analysts have rushed to compare that approach to what Conor McGregor used to do before his biggest fights. Sonnen stopped short of agreeing with that comparison, though. His position was clear. Garry has not done enough yet to be placed in the same conversation as McGregor when it comes to psychological warfare. The potential might be there, but the track record is not. And in Sonnen's world, track records matter more than potential.
I want him to get in his head. I want him to rattle him. I want Islam at the face-off to look away. Now, whether Islam does any of those things, right, it would just force Islam to rise. We could have some fun. Press conferences are only fun if there's a little bit of that sprinkled in there. Can we agree? Face-offs are only worth doing if there's a little bit in there. I just don't think that's what he's talking about. And I'm not getting the comparison. Now, I'm open to it. I'm open to observing this and updating you guys as we go and telling you, hey, that's what he talked about. Okay, he's doing, hey, remember when Conor did that to Jose? Okay, hey, here's what he's doing. Here's the playbook. I just don't know if that's what he means.
Sonnen did not stop at Fight Week strategy though. He made it clear that everything happening outside the octagon is a minor detail when you stack it against what actually needs to happen once that door closes and the fight begins. His breakdown of what Garry genuinely needs to do to win was direct and did not leave much room for wishful thinking. The first challenge Sonnen identified was takedown defense. Makhachev's wrestling is not just good. It is the kind of wrestling that has finished fights and broken game plans at the highest level of the sport. Garry needs to show, from round 1 all the way through round 5, that he can stay on his feet when Makhachev decides he wants the fight on the ground. That alone is a massive ask, because plenty of fighters who thought they were prepared for Makhachev's grappling found themselves on the mat within the first minute. The second challenge Sonnen laid out was pace. Makhachev does not slow down. He does not have rounds where he seems to be catching his breath or waiting things out. He works at a consistent, grinding pace that wears opponents down over time, and by the championship rounds, that pace has broken people who started the fight looking sharp. Garry would need to match that output and sustain it across all 25 minutes, which is something that requires a very specific kind of conditioning and mental toughness. Sonnen's conclusion was that if Garry somehow manages to handle both of those problems, the fight genuinely becomes more competitive. Not a guaranteed Garry win, but a real fight where anything could happen. Sonnen also brought up Sean O'Malley as someone worth studying before this matchup, noting that O'Malley's movement and timing offer useful lessons about how a certain style of striker can create problems even for elite wrestlers.
Ian Garry has answered a lot of questions, and if you're going to deal with Islam Makhachev, first and foremost, can you stop a takedown? Second, and it's in this order specifically, can you go hard for 5 rounds? Because Islam can. If you change it to 10 rounds, Islam's not going to wilt. Khabib and that whole team show up right. But if you could stop a takedown, and you could go hard for 25 minutes, conversation changes completely. Completely changes. Sean O'Malley is who I would encourage Ian Garry to study. Sean O'Malley is not a master of wrestling defense, but everybody thinks he is. Why? Well, because he never gets out wrestled. Okay. Why don't I give Sean that credit then? Because he doesn't defend any shots. Sean's got you beat.
So the question is sitting right in front of us now. When Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry finally step into that octagon together, who actually walks out with the belt? Does Makhachev's championship experience and dominant wrestling prove to be too much for anyone to overcome? Or does Garry find a way to flip the script and pull off the kind of win that people will be talking about for years? Drop your prediction down in the comments below and give your reasoning, because this is the kind of fight where the debate is just as good as the fight itself. And if you want to stay on top of every UFC update, every breakdown, and every prediction leading up to this one, make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss a single thing.